Welcome to the 20th anniversary of the Brisbane Artists Evening of Art Sharing. We're broadcasting tonight from Sharon Boggs Sound Production Studios right here in Brisbane, California. I am Beth Grossman, and I'm going to be your host for this evening. I'm proud to share our talented and connected community of artists who live and work in our vibrant small town, nestled on San Bruno Mountain in the San Francisco Bay Area. Tonight, we're showcasing 15 of those artists of all genres for you. For the past 18 years, we presented this evening of sharing live at the Mission Blue Center to the most loving, appreciative local audience that any artist could ask for. For these past 2 strange years, we've moved to an online format and will present short videos made especially for this event. We thank you all for tuning in and appreciate your supportive interest in our ongoing work as artists. To start off the celebration of our 20th anniversary, we're honored to have a new film created by Keith Moreau. This film, entitled 20, offers a look at the origins of the Brisbane Art Sharing Evening, how it evolved, and a celebration of the many artists who participated through the years in this wonderful local Brisbane event. When we were thinking about moving from the East Bay over here to Brisbane, we were roaming around and we ran into Robin Leiter, who was having a garage sale with her neighbors. And she was the city manager at the time, and I felt so welcomed, and I felt like the people that I was meeting at the garage sale that I would be really happy to live amongst, and that they were community oriented. And I was sad that I was going to be leaving my artist community in the East Bay, and that I would somehow or another need to find a way to create a community here. And then the perfect opportunity happened when our mayor at the time, Clara Johnson, she initiated the Brisbane Mayoral Arts Achievement Award. And the thing that was so great about that was, in order to apply, you needed to list a certain amount of ways that you had been recognized by your arts field and your peers.
I also want to just thank Clara for that incredibly important ceremony. It was so galvanizing to meet fellow artists and realize that we were part of an extraordinary community in this small town, and to see the potential for Mission Blue to be a world-class performance space.
I love the people that I met, but I had this like, well, this is all great, but David Brown, you're a filmmaker, what do you do? I want to know, you know, and Camille, what is BDW, Brisbane Dance Workshop? And I wanted to know what the artist's work was like and have an opportunity to have an exchange. So I came to you at the office, at the City Hall, and I talked to you. I said, hey, I have this idea to do a kind of art sharing evening that we would all get a chance to share maybe 5 minutes and showcase what we do. And that was, I think, around 2001, and it took a while for me to contact all the art awardees, but also I wanted to expand it and find out who else in town was an artist and invite them to come up and showcase their work. It became clear that the Mission Blue Center was a beautiful building, but it just really wasn't set up to be a performance space.
The first artist sharing required rental of basically everything.
Lighting and blackout windows and a sound system, risers and chairs and things.
Video projector,
video
pull-down screen.
All of these artists were every possible different kind of art form. And in a certain way, the art sharing evening provided us with the information we needed to find a way to outfit Mission Blue in a way that could accommodate as many art forms as possible.
That first night, it's coming back to me for someone who lost it all. But I remember thinking, oh, the acoustics in here are so wonderful, but at the same time, they echo everywhere, and it's impossible.
And that was our mission when we came together as a foursome, to lobby the city, work with them. The potential was great, but they needed to have standards that a world-class performance space would require. We were pretty tenacious.
I think that's true.
We can be proud of that, because look at the result 20 years later. It's a world-class performance space.
We had a vision and we had an intention of what we needed for our own particular expression of our own artistic work. The important thing as well is that there were not only a city manager but a city council person who was there and saw that vision as well. And because of that support, we were able to take really the next steps in what happened. Once the curtains were up and once the blackout windows were up, it began to make the space really acoustically beautiful and upped that whole performance experience tenfold, 100-fold.
I appreciate your determination and persistence, because to get anything done in any political medium takes that, because it's really difficult to bring the people to your point of view. Not an easy thing. And I know that through the years how determined and persistent you all have been. And I really appreciate it, because I share your consideration of the arts. And I think what we would like is to have more and more people understand how important art is to them, even though they may not have any idea that that's true. So thank you. Thank you for all that you've created here. That it still exists is really a tribute to all of the artists and also all the supporters.
It's 20 years, what a legacy that is, not only to have an intention or to begin something, but to make it last, to have this lasting sense that it is community. It's not something that we're hoping for, it's something that the people here help manifest, that generations will find here in Brisbane what we were honored to begin. So it's just a wonderful moment now for all, I think, all of us.
That's a wonderful thing. I'd like to celebrate the 20-year anniversary and thank everybody who's been involved. It's remarkable. I just love this community. I feel very privileged to be a part of it. And Beth, you were so great at building the community and expanding it and continuing it. You know, the monthly meetings have been invaluable. And I just love the community that you have fostered and we have all contributed to fostering. So, congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks for being a part of it.
I'm gonna walk 100 miles. I'm gonna whistle all the while. If that's what it takes to make me smile, I'm gonna walk 100 miles. I'm gonna run right up this hill. Summer sky or winter chill. If I gotta take a break, I will. But I'm gonna run right up this hill. I wanna hold the whole wide world right here in my open hands. And maybe I'm just a little girl with great big plans. I'm gonna go and take a chance. I'm gonna learn to ballet dance, learn a little something about romance. I'm gonna go and take a chance. I'm gonna live a crazy dream, impossible as it may seem. Doesn't matter what the future brings, I'm gonna live a crazy dream. And I wanna hold the whole wide world right here in my open hands. And maybe I'm just a little girl with great big plans. I wanna hold the whole wide world right here in my open hands. And maybe I'm just a little girl with great big plans. whistle all the while. If that's what it takes to make me smile, I'm gonna walk 100 miles. I'm gonna run right up this hill, summer sky or winter chill. If I gotta take a break, I will, but I'm gonna run right up this hill. I wanna hold the whole wide world right here in my open hands. And maybe I'm just a little girl with great big plans. I'm gonna go and take a chance. I'm gonna learn to ballet dance, learn a little something about romance. I'm gonna go and take a chance. I'm gonna live a crazy dream, impossible as it may seem. Doesn't matter what the future brings, I'm gonna live a crazy dream. And I wanna hold the whole wide world right here in my open hands. And maybe I'm just a little girl with great big plans. I wanna hold the whole wide world right here in my open hands. And maybe I'm just a little girl with great big plans. You tell me, don't try it. I'm warning you that I won't buy it. All the failure is fleeting.
I just love all of you. Okay.
Yeah.
I love all of you, and I'm so grateful for this Brisbane artist community. Anyway. Awesome. Here you go. Anyway, thank you all.
Thank you. And I just want to say too, thank you to all of you, because this community wouldn't be without all of your participation and all of your dedication to your art and your craft, and to sharing your process, your creative process with everybody. So it encourages us all to keep getting better, which is why the art sharing evening after 18 years gets better every year. So.
But what's so weird is I wouldn't even have realized I was an artist if it weren't for you. And I'm not joking. I'm very grateful.
And you're an artist on so many levels.
Well,
Yes.
thank you. And anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Hi, everyone. Awesome.
Yay, okay, now what?
I'm gonna film.
Now I think it's time to go home.
Imagine that. Just filming away. Let me see what you say. Have anything to say? When have I ever had anything to say?
Thank you, Keith, for this deep dive into our archives. Y'all may want to know a little more about Keith Moreau. He's a local documentary filmmaker who pursues numerous artistic and commercial endeavors. Keith's local interest films include Butterflies and Bulldozers, How to Save a Mountain, about San Bruno Mountain, as well as Brisbane Derby and After the Fire. He's actively working on the Brisbane History Project in partnership with the City of Brisbane, capturing the stories of long-time noteworthy Brisbane residents. And then there's Sharing Artist Sharing. You can find out more about it at artistsharing.com. It's a feature-length documentary film currently in production, revealing the fascinating art, motivation, and lives of artists in Brisbane, California. Our next act is Linda Seekins. She's known as Big Lou, who's presenting with her French Music Cafe quartet, Innuendo. They play accordion, viola da gamba, acoustic guitar, and bass. Between the four of them, they have more than a century of playing in the Bay Area.
Thanks, rolling. What? I'm sorry.
1 and 2.
As Deanna Washington's graphic design career of 35 years winds down, she turns her attention to writing and art. Today, she's showing photos and videos representing the 150 ephemeral artworks she created in 2021 in and around Brisbane, affectionately called Nature Doodles.
Some people climb mountains or make hats. I play with sticks and stones. Why? I was recently asked. Go for a walk, and the monkey mind rides on your shoulder, jabbering away the whole time. But pick up a stone and balance it on a stick, and the brain flutters away. Silence. Slide a bead onto a weed, press a berry into a tree trunk, slather a branch with blackberry juice, poke a stone into a crevice, hang a flower from the wrong tree, align stones on a branch, surround a puddle with petals, paint stripes on a limb. Meditation, to focus one's mind for a period of time in silence, as a method of relaxation. Tie, weave, arrange, dangle, stack, bind, connect. Why? To behold nature in a different way, to create something and let it go, to express unattached, to give freely, to bring a smile on my face and to the face of others, to invite others to join me. Nature is our playground. It is our art store. Every stone as media, every stick as decor, every smile as reward. Some people climb mountains.
Steve Kessler's interest in photography started back in high school, and over the years he's enjoyed sharing his work in various exhibits. In the early 2000s, he began using digital media. Recently, he's experimenting with compositing images in Photoshop, and we'll share some of them with you tonight. David Cooper and Nancy Roeser performed together as Small Town Depression. Here are two of their original songs.
Hi there, I'm David Cooper.
I'm Nancy Roeser.
And we are Small Town Depression.
And we're going to play a couple songs for you.
I'm going to play a few. This is starting off with one of mine called When the Blues Come to Me. It goes like this.
said and done. When I left the only one, when my lady said goodbye, I see it in her eyes. I know the reason why I cannot find a sad, lonely place. When the blues come to me, between a rock and a fallen tree, carry me like a river, don't you see? Take me down to my knees.
All right, we're gonna do a little love song for you called Tracks in the Snow. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wandering down this empty track, I wonder where you are. Looking for that gratitude I left home in a jar. Seems I'm just alone again, the snow is coming down. Wandering round this final town, slow moving out of town. Looking for tracks in the snow, wondering which way I should go. I've been down this road a time or two, but I never done it without you. You were there to cut the firewood that kept us safe and warm. You were there to hold my body as we birthed our firstborn child. Looking for tracks in the snow, wondering which way I should go. I've been down this road a time or two, but I never done it without you. Take it there. Now we're here, looking at paper walls and doors that never change. Now we're here, flying to and fro because the end is near. Looking for tracks in the snow, wondering which way I should go. I've been down this road a time or two, but I never done it without you. No, I never done it without you. No, I never done it without you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cross Allan is a Kapampangan American raised in the Excelsior district of San Francisco. Cross moved to Brisbane a year ago and works with an arts nonprofit newly based here called Lyrical Opposition. He also serves as a spoken word poet and a graphic designer. Cross was the production manager and executive producer for the short film Re-Entrification, Oakland, which he is sharing with us tonight.
You look unfamiliar. Like I gotta do a double take because your face is a little unrecognizable. I know you, at least the old you. Remember how folks used to hold you to such high regard? Folks you birthed, born and raised from soil planted as seeds that would later grow into trees with roots that run deep. I got roots here. My family got roots here. My homies got roots here.
If I have to tell you one thing about my city that I was born in, called Oakland, California, is this. Oakland is wild love.
But all I hear is the sound of them roots quickly being ripped up from underneath the earth. They gave you an unnecessary operation, performed surgery on a heart that was beating just fine, gave you transplant after transplant, and afterward expected you to be just fine. Oakland, you're not the same. And I'm so sorry you got caught up in this game, a sick, twisted idea of home improvement, a sick upgrade, and I don't mean that in the best way, I mean it in the absolute worst.
Well, where we are in Oakland, I don't have a clue. I really don't know where we are. Where we'll end up, I just really don't have a clue. I don't know. I just try to keep it moving the best I can.
They've been trying to take your soul and wash it white as Tulsa, turn around and call it city development, pushing your people to faraway places because their pockets and skin color don't match the new aesthetic. See, Black Lives Matter, but only in tech. They overly use hella in every sentence or on shirts real ones don't even buy, trying to prove they're really about that life, but please. Your children can sniff out a transplant from 100 miles away, close our eyes and be able to tell from just a whisper who just got here. See, they trying to play you, trying to take you for a fool. And honestly, my faith in you lately been on E, but I ain't never stopped claiming you. Folks who never met you put you in the shadow of the city, but I teach them all about you, how you strong. An underdog that been fighting to be recognized for far too long, how you stand tall, apart from what's across the bridge, how revolutionary power comes from your womb. You are the proud parent of freedom fighters. More than just a home for hyphy, Black history resides here. They better ask somebody, and I know you ain't perfect. There's some things about you that do need to change, but I see your pain. Cracks rest heavy in your smile, your hands decorated with calluses from trying to hold it all together. I know you're tired, because we tired. The lovers of your soul, the ones who know you, the ones who spend their days reminiscing on your glory days, mouths filled with y'all remember when, eyes filled with here they go again, when another piece of you gets replaced with a Starbucks or an unaffordable apartment complex. My love, it is exhausting to watch you be ripped apart. But those of us who love you just want to play our part to keep you as whole as we can, understanding that after all the madness, you still here. We still here. Culture still exists in you. Endurance still persists in you. Endurance still persists in you. Hands up, throw our fists for you.
Rosanna Lyon is a fine art painter from Ireland living in Brisbane. She created a painting series during the pandemic using her husband as her model because he was the best and also the only option. Fego Navarro is a Salvadoran American rapper from San Francisco and is part of the artist collective and record label Lyrical Opposition, based here in Brisbane. Fego is presenting a music video of his single, Café con Leche, taken from his album Escapism. Café con Leche is a feel-good ode not just to Fego's long-term partner, but also a love song for coffee, the fuel that keeps half the human race going.
Café con leche. Move your feet. Hey. Met a pretty lady from Bogota. She was like, hola, ¿cómo está? I just been busy on my job. This is good coffee, oh my God. I swear this one is the one for me. I'm talking about coffee, let me be. I love caffeine, L-O-V-E. Beware at night and won't let you sleep. In the morning, I'll repeat. A little brown sugar, I like it sweet. To get my day started and move my feet. It wakes me up, feel it in my heartbeat like Beattie, Beattie, Bamba. Got my heart dancing like samba. Let's go out and get coffee. I swear she's super bossy. Wanna wake up with you like a café con leche. Always on my mind, baby, you always en mi mente. I ain't talking one night, lady, I know what you thinking. I know in my past I was lost, I was really tripping. Wanna wake up with you like a café con leche. Always on my mind, baby, you always en mi mente. I ain't talking one night, lady, I know what you thinking. I know in my past I was lost, I was really tripping. Get up on dulce, right there, yeah. Get up on dulce, una conchita. Sorry, I'm choosing. It's hard to commit. I pour up a cup and then I take a sip. Little sweet bread, go ahead, let it dip. I'm feeling so lit as I go on my trip. I take it with me as I ride in my whip. But it's so nice when I ride with my chick. Feeling is something I really do miss. It's okay, baby, I like it like this. Cold like the winter, yeah, coffee's the best. Used to taste nasty when I was a kid. Now I just needed to get out the crib. Ready for work, but no honey, I'm home when I'm back from my trip. Man, some days I think, wanna wake up with you like a café con leche. Always on my mind, baby, you always en mi mente. I ain't talking one night, lady, I know what you thinking. I know in my past I was lost, I was really tripping. Wanna wake up with you like a café con leche. Always on my mind, baby, you always en mi mente. I ain't talking one night, lady, I know what you thinking. I know in my past I was lost, I was really tripping. Yeah, hola. Tú me pones a bailar. Ey. Yo quiero estar contigo. Mami, dame cafecito. Just a little bit. Yeah, let's go. Wanna wake up with you like a café con leche. Always on my mind, baby, you always en mi mente. I ain't talking one night, lady, I know what you thinking. I know in my past I was lost, I was really tripping. Wanna wake up with you like a café con leche. Always on my mind, baby, you always en mi mente. I ain't talking one night, lady,
cup of coffee, sir? Would you like some coffee, sir? Would you like another cup of coffee?
Oh, yes, please. Coffee. Yes, I like coffee. Thank you. Thank you. Perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
Kathy Wall has lived in Brisbane for over 20 years and is a writer and singer. She usually sings at these events, but this year we'll be reading one of her short stories.
Good evening. This is a story about a family trip that we took many, many years ago. I hope you enjoy it. The Klamath. It was a long, miserable drive from where we lived in Garberville, California, to where the Klamath River flowed through Oregon. But the wild and stunningly beautiful Klamath is famous for steelhead, salmon, and trout. And my dad loved to fish, so off we went. The only time I was there, for reasons you may soon understand, was in the early 1960s. These were days of few highways and lots of dirt roads. My sister and I were just little kids, and these were not fun adventures for us. Judy and I always wanted to take a break and eat at one of the enticing burger places we saw on the way to whatever godforsaken campsite Dad was dragging us to. But that was almost never in the cards. Dad hated to stop. Even when we had to go to the bathroom or deal with the inevitable car sickness, it was a quick stop on the side of the road. Dad was a maniacal driver, and there were no seatbelts in those days, so we were tossed about wildly on the bumpy, curvy roads. Eventually, our need to stop got to be too much, so he would pull into a turnout, Mom would give us some toilet paper, and Dad would give us a make it snappy. Mom was a big city girl before meeting my father, and like us, she hated every single minute of these drives. Actually, she probably hated them more, since she was wholly responsible for the 2 whiny children howling about how horrible things were, not to mention the vomiting. She did everything she could to keep us occupied, but her best trick was to get us to play the quiet game, to see who would be quiet for the longest. Unfortunately for her, that never lasted too long. The find out of state license plates game was also occupying us for a bit, but that fun wore off quickly, and there weren't that many cars on the road back in those days. After several miserable hours, we finally arrived. The weather was horrible, dark, cold, and cloudy. The campground was desolate, surrounded by trees, with nary another camper anywhere to be seen. Daddy was excited, though, because the river was high and the fishing would surely be good. He had big dreams of catching a record-breaking steelhead. For me, Mom, and Judy, it was sheer hell. Even Casey, our Cocker Spaniel, was depressed. There was absolutely nothing for us to do. Back then, there were no cell phones or iPads, and we had to rely on little boxes called transistor radios for music, or news when not at home, but only if you were lucky enough to be near a radio tower. Although late at night, you could sometimes pick up a crazy DJ by the name of Wolfman Jack, who broadcast from Mexico. I still remember his gravelly voice and his famous wolf howl. All I know is that I am sure glad that I love to read. Judy, not so much. As I recall, she did a lot of crying on these trips. As soon as he got the camp set up, Dad put on his thigh-high rubber waders and took off to go fishing, leaving the 3 of us and the small dog to fend for ourselves. Suddenly, I heard loud noises coming from the trees, and Casey was going crazy. I looked up and realized that Mom was screaming, "Get in the trailer, get in the trailer." It was then that I saw 6 huge and ugly creatures racing towards us. They were black with rough, bristly hair, large snouts, and long, terrifying tusks. My 4'11" Mom flung us into the very sturdy trailer that my dad had built. Judy and I were terrified and crying. Before leaping in herself, Mom tried to get Casey, but he had, quite wisely, run under the trailer and was hiding there. Wrapped in our coarse camping blankets, we huddled there for what seemed like hours, but was probably just minutes. We prayed fervently that Dad would come back soon, while the fierce wild boars thrashed and snorted throughout our campsite. Finally, after ransacking everything they could get to, the snarling, vicious animals wandered off. Eventually, Dad returned, calmly wondering what we were all so riled up about, making it seem like we were making a big deal out of nothing. Mom was having none of that, however. Usually quite docile, she demanded in no uncertain terms that he find us a cabin to sleep in or take us home. For once he gave in and found us a cabin. It was a pit, and I think Dad's trailer was much nicer, but at least we felt a little safer. Our terror didn't keep Daddy from fishing, though. Off he went the next day. To my knowledge, he never caught that record-breaking steelhead, although he caught some darn big ones, but he never stopped loving fishing. One other thing I remember from that trip to the lonely Klamath was that I know I saw Bigfoot's paw print. I've never forgotten how it looked, but I'm certainly not going back to look for it. Looking back, I now realize that despite the terror that we experienced on this trip, and what seemed like misery on our countless other camping vacations, these trips created some of my favorite memories and bound our family together in ways that you simply wouldn't get from the fancy vacations that the other kids bragged about. So jealous at the time, but now I'm glad that we have these wild adventures and lots of stories to tell. Thank you.
Barbara Voss is from a family of artists going back generations who are primarily self-educated. Her resume includes an NEA grant and a Jurassic Artist residency. She also has a hands-on healing practice in San Francisco.
I've painted here at the Noonan Building since 1994. The building slated to be torn down for a huge development. Thank you, San Francisco, for voting the artists must stay. I wish it could be true for all Bay Area artists. Making art goes back millions of years. There are gorgeous and powerful cave paintings in caves all over the world. It's very important to talk through image, or through color, or through line and space and relationships of things. And that's why I like to compare it to music, to improvisational jazz or dance, because it really can't be explained in words. It's an emblem of something deeper within me. And that's kind of what all my work has in common, which is I'm willing to be lost and present. I'm just so lucky I'm able to do it. So there's, I think, a lot of psychological relationship to nature in my paintings. Nature, I think, for a lot of kids who grew up in difficult circumstances, became the saving grace and a way of surviving and of thriving by speaking to nature and listening to nature. And I think being able to express my own nature through my painting that's a gift. And that's probably what abstraction is to me. Painting is a large experience of nature. It's the complexity of being in the woods. Because really, when I first started doing abstract, it was when I realized I did a painting of a child walking out of the woods. And I loved that painting. It had a lot of meaning for me. And then I realized, oh my God, I can paint the woods. And that was when I started to paint abstractly and knew what abstract painting was. It's the woods that we are part of, that we walk in and out of. It's the complexity of nature.
I definitely see the complexity.
Do you see the sense of branches, of where light hits things, just being somewhere where you're completely immersed in nature? And when I first started doing big pieces, I was using paper and house paint and just rolling it out and putting it on the wall and just or on the floor and just painting. And that is such an important place for people to be when they want to make art, is to be free and not feel the burden of pleasing anyone, just finding your way. The idea to start is to be present and accept yourself. I accept myself. It's so intuitive. It's really self-trust on a deep level. And it's really exciting. And a lot of it is looking. It's like I'll paint, and then I'll sit and I'll look and I'll look and I'll look. And I'm not thinking when I'm looking, I'm just taking it in. Like it's a piece of nature, and now I get to react to it. And it becomes a dialogue and a fun way of improvisation, the way musicians do with each other, I get to do with the painting. And it speaks to me. It guides me of what to do next. I feel so lucky to be able to have the energy and willingness to have fun and not be afraid of seeing what happens. I just finished this one, and
Beautiful.
thank you. Yeah, I'm so in love with this painting.
I can see nature in this for sure. It's very much like this place I was just kayaking.
To me, this painting is like a seed. You know, it's like a seed of the brilliance of life. So just the colors in this painting are just like making me so happy.
Yeah.
Getting to speak through paint. It's really moving for me. It's really moving. Yeah.
Marymoore, Patterson, and Eric Beattie just moved to Brisbane last summer, and they're grateful to be part of this welcoming community. Tonight, their acoustic trio, Hitchhiking Honeymoon, is presenting their original song, Message in the Sand, sung by Marymoore, written and performed by Eric and collaborator Sam Pointer. It's part of their new album, Chase the Sun, to be released on March 25th. This music video was filmed and directed by Brisbane filmmaker David L. Brown.
Bare feet, the breath of the sea, lane of driftwood, on a dune stood, shelter a while, nestle and smile, message in the sand, born of sea and land, written by the one you love. Gathered friends sing round a fire ring, smell of mesquite, smoky and sweet, talk and laughter, ever after, a mandolin plays, but we slip away. Message in the sand, born of sea and land, written by the one you love. Feathered clouds glow, petal red rose falls to the sand, and you take my hand with a bare toe, sketch an arrow, piercing a heart, the finest of art. Message in the sand, born of sea and land, written by the one you love. Message in the sand, born of sea and land, written by the one you love.
Tony Press writes stories and poems when he isn't walking Brisbane streets. Here on a chilly Market Street night, he reads a story, A Gentle Rage.
I've lived in this house 45 years. I'm 91, you do the math. Yesterday I went to see the house and neighborhood of my youth. Not my 30s, but my childhood. That was a long time ago. Yesterday is already a long time back. I almost said yesterday I drove to see the house of my youth, but that unfortunately would be a lie. I haven't driven anywhere for 6 months, since the day my kids descended, like the interveners on that television show, and presto, they had my keys. Oh, they praised me to the skies, the rightness of my decision, my courage, how wonderful it was I had made the choice, not them. But geez, it happened fast. That's the New Deal, and I do recall the real New Deal. Things creep along, just creep and creep, but in a flash, everything changes. As my tax guy said when I told him I intended to drop dead in my own home, we all do, my friend, but you are one fall away from something very different. So now, in addition to the unmitigated joy of moving with a walker with 2 tennis balls, there's more. If I want to go somewhere, somebody has to take me. I've been driving for 75 years. Try stopping that on the dime. It is not easy. What it is the shits. Pardon the expression. And no, I won't go into the real shits and that delight. I won't. I keep saying never get old and everybody laughs thinking I'm being funny. But I want to tell you about that trip yesterday. We left at 9 and arrived about 11, so obviously it wasn't terribly far. But I hadn't been back in a long time. I don't like the expression in decades, but I can use it frequently. I don't. Like they say, everything looks smaller. So what? I'm smaller too. I used to be 5'9", but now I'm barely 5'5", and my pants keep sliding off. My driver's license still says 5'9", for all the good that does me. Like they say, everything looks smaller. We got there. My son driving his silent Prius, me in the suicide seat, and he parked in front of a house. This is it, right, Dad? He had a Google printout and a GPS thing, so I said yes. Maybe it was. Doesn't make any difference. You just do what they say and say what they want. It's easier. I'm sure I slept all the way home, probably most of the way up there. I know I missed the bridge in both directions. I remember crossing the bay for years from a different house when I worked in the city. I remember driving my car onto the morning ferry, coffee on the way over, 2 beers on the way back. I always stood outside in the sun or mist or fog or rain. It didn't matter. I was alive. It's all past tense now.
Tony. David L. Brown filmed, directed, and edited Heroes, a music video of a song by Ashland, Oregon singer Carol Burpee. This is a celebration of a variety of heroes, many involved with civil rights and environmental activism.
There are heroes among us in the darkest of times who choose to stand for truth and let their light shine. Driven by undaunted courage, they're an unshakable force. Walking into danger, they stay their course. On the Selma March, one little song was sung. In the fight against injustice, they pledged to overcome. A hymn turned protest song by two young men who led the singing because discrimination had to end. They were heroes among us in the darkest of times who chose to stand for truth and let their light shine. Driven by undaunted courage, they were an unshakable force. They walked into danger and stayed their course. How can I make a difference? They heard her say, against such a fierce foe, so filled with hate. Months later, she did her part in taking down the beast. She stood her ground by refusing to give up her seat. Robberson, just entering high school, questioned why his kind couldn't swim in the public pools. Why laws were made by men that could be so cruel. His sense of right gave him courage, and that day justice ruled. He was a hero among us in the darkest of times, who chose to stand for truth and let his light shine. Driven by undaunted courage, he was an unshakable force. He walked into danger, until death he stayed the course. A few among the many who choose to be beacons of light instead of hiding in obscurity. They stand strong in their truth so that others can stand tall. Under God indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm next. I'm Beth Grossman, and I create art and participatory performances that are points of entry into the ongoing dialogue about our place in nature and the power of social beliefs. My mediums change with my message and intended audience, which keeps me on my toes learning new skills. This is my first foray into creating a short film, and this one is about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Enjoy. O Hina'aro Nui School of Tahitian Dance and Music is based here in Brisbane since 2016. Under the direction of Christopher and Desiree Lee, they promote, perpetuate, and preserve the Tahitian culture through dance and music.
Yaorana Yaoto o Desiree To'ui Oa, Maruru, and thank you for allowing us to be a part of this year's Brisbane Artists Evening of Sharing. O Hina'aro Nui is always excited to share what we have to offer in this amazing artist community of Brisbane. The pieces that we have chosen for you is one ote'a and one aparima, one dance to drumming and one dance to music. Our ote'a, our piece with the drumming, speaks of Feti'a, or the star, and how that star guides us on our journey. Our aparima, Tote'aune, speaks of the rise after a hurricane, okay, or a trial or a turbulent situation. And both are such an important part as we venture through COVID and out of COVID. And we hope that you all have your journey and your foundation, and that you also rise out of this situation. Maruru.
Yorana I te ipu, o vau Kristo o Iowara a tira pupu, o Hina'aro nui. Te whare ori Tahiti, I te Innuendo Brisbane. Manawa, maewa e Yorana. Hello everyone, my name is Chris. I am the co-director for O Hina'aro Nui along with my wife Desiree. We run the Tahitian dance school O Hina'aro Nui. We're very proud to take part of this artist evening of sharing here in Brisbane. This wonderful program we have been a part of for the last 3 or 4 consecutive years, and we are happy to return once again to share with you. If you did not know, our classes take place right here in Mission Blue Center Monday and Wednesday evenings, and we hope that one day you might take the interest in learning the Polynesian culture of our South Pacific islands of Tahiti. Thank you for joining us this evening. Enjoy the show. Maruru I Marururoa.
Well, that wraps up our presentation tonight. I want to extend a special thank you to our Brisbane City Council for their ongoing support of this event and of all of the flourishing arts in our town. This year, I had the pleasure of working with Sarah Nahas and Noreen Leek from the Parks and Recreation Department to organize this online event. And Sharon Boggs of Sound Productions put this all together and helped bring it to your screens. And thanks to Channel 27, Livestream, and Cablecast for airing this broadcast. And of course, none of this would have been possible without all of the illustrious Brisbane artists in our community. Thank you to those of you who shared your talents tonight and all the rest of you who presented through the past 20 years. We continue to create and develop our crafts individually and in collaboration. I'm Beth Grossman, your host and the founder and organizer of the Brisbane Artists Evening of Art Sharing. We usually conclude our monthly Brisbane Artist Gathering by shouting together, "Make art." So I thank all of you. Until next year, and let me hear it from all over San Bruno Mountain. Make art!